Jake, man, it's been a long process for you, man. You've been here so long already at such a young age, but man, you're 5-1 in your last 6. I mean, really kind of bring it all together. I mean, do you feel like you're no longer that kid, that prospect anymore? You're kind of just like the veteran fighter now?
Yeah, I guess age-wise I'm still the kid, but you know, in terms of how many fights I've had, I'm one of the sort of lead horses in the Australian MMA, I guess. You know, myself and Rob are one of the few that are still fighting out of the Ultimate Fighter house. So, even myself sometimes I still see myself as a young kid in the sport, but I guess it's not really the case anymore.
Yeah. Last time you fought in February, obviously the world was still normal back then. Now everything has changed. Just so give us an idea from then till now, what it's been like as far as like fight preparation and training and all during this new world that we got.
Yeah, we're pretty lucky that we were able to get the permits to train, and maybe the pool of training partners we normally have was a lot smaller, but the quality didn't change. We still had all the UFC boys, the higher level sort of regional guys in to help us train. So we had to tweak a few little things. Obviously, all the gyms are still closed in Melbourne and will be to the end of the year. But we found a way to make it work, and I feel just as good as ever have.
Very cool. Now you're matched up with Diego Sanchez. When we were calling you a veteran, all right, there's a veteran, right? Just curious. I mean, were you a fan of this guy? I mean, did you watch him growing up? I mean, he's obviously been fighting for so long.
Yeah, I've always said between Diego and BJ Penn, they were both probably two of my idols in the sport. I remember watching Diego win the Ultimate Fighter. I was grade 5, so I was 11 years old. Yeah, I was 11 years old watching it in my lounge room with my family when he won the Ultimate Fighter. So now I'm fighting him, so it's pretty cool.
That's wild. I know that's kind of the goal, right? Is to get yourself alongside those people. But I mean, is it going to be weird? Like, are there going to be moments where you have to like stop and like catch yourself or whatever? Like, oh my God, I'm in here with Diego Sanchez.
No, I don't think so. Maybe after the fight I'll let it all soak in. But to me, like I said, this has been my 14th fight in the UFC. It's not my first time, and I see us as colleagues, more of that sense. We're both in UFC, both at the top of our game, or at the top of the sport. So it's just another opponent, another fight. I'll let it sink in afterwards, but for the time being, just stay composed as always. And
it's weird because, right, I mean, there's so much tape of him out there. I mean, we've all been watching him fight forever, but like his last fight, he came out and we're like, what is this? Like, I've never seen this before. So how did you prep? I mean, do you think I'm looking for that, that vintage, kind of old school Diego Sanchez, or do you kind of have to go, I have no idea what I'm going to see in there because he's making these changes to his game late in his career?
Hoping for the old Diego, but I don't think watching the video helps much because it depends which Diego shows up on the night. And I don't even know if Diego knows he's going to show up on the night. So that could not just be the fight, that could change round to round. So we just prepared for all scenarios, just stay laser focused. If he changes his game plan mid-fight, then we'll be able to adapt, and I'm comfortable wherever the fight goes as always, so we'll just see what he brings out and we'll just adapt.
Very nice. And last thing for me, I mean, obviously this will be a big name on your resume, but what is the goal here? I mean, like I said, you're kind of this flag bearer for Australian MMA now, but you had the setback where I mean, do you feel like you're a contender and you're worried about rankings and that sort of thing, or is this just about winning and developing? I mean, what's the goal for you?
It's always been fight by fight for myself, but I definitely think this kind of fight, I call it kind of the legend killer fight. It's normally the one that propels guys into the rankings, so potentially top 15 if not close to it for the next one. But in terms of opponents, doesn't even cross my mind yet. It's just this fight and that's it.
Was Diego Sanchez ever a name you thought would even cross your desk in terms of fight offer?
Yeah, probably the last 4 or 5 fights maybe I've tried to get a fight like this. Whether it was a Diego Sanchez, Matt Brown, Carlos Condit, one of those type of guys, have a big name and been around for a long time. So I have been looking for this type of fight. Could have potentially had these kind of fights earlier, but dropped the ball in some fights, and you get a loss that sets you back. But yeah, no, it wasn't a surprise when I got the name because we've been chasing it. So.
Do you think it's more beneficial to fight those type of names at this point in your career rather than earlier on in your UFC career?
I think it's a good time now. Where I'm sort of sitting. Like I said before, it could boost me into a top 15 fight, and that's always the goal, is to just climb up the ladder. So yeah, it's a good fight to get some exposure and being able to dictate what my next fight will be.